inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Every day. Woo! Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pail of water. But Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came running after. Said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help to ease your mind? He said, hold my hand, just be kind, and I know that I'll be fine. My religion is kindness, my church is forgiveness, my God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. My religion is kindness. My church is forgiveness. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and I practice it. I practice it every day. Practice every day. Practice every day.
Oh my.
That'll shake them off.
I got
Get the blood moving for the day.
So, like the last time through the chorus, if you could sing "My religion is kindness,"
Okay.
and then I can do some ad-libbing then,
My
because
religion
that
is kindness.
my
My
church
church is
is
nature.
my God
God is a
is
feeling
that lives deep inside.
My job is inside. My
Job
job
is-
is to be.
We don't have to do that either. It's a
did you-
lot of words,
How
isn't
does
it?
my job is to be fit in there? What do you say?
It's a lot.
Love,
Oh, okay.
My job is to be.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I can.
Hi, how are you this morning? Okay. And we got new batteries? Okay. They aren't double A's? What, triples, okay. You may not have any, Sally.
that peace of mind like you've never known. But things change when you're down in the valley. Don't lose faith, for you are never alone. For the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. The God of the day is still God in the night. Talk of faith when you're up on the mountain. The talk comes so easy when life's at its best. Now it's down in the valley of trials and temptation. That's when your faith is put to the test. For the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. The God of the day is still God in the night. For the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. For the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. The God of the day is still God in the night. The God of the day is still God in the night.
Good morning and welcome home to Unity. I'm Barb Buchanan, licensed Unity leader and prayer chaplain, and I welcome all of you today for this beautiful service. And we also welcome our live streamers. Know that we are connected heart to heart and soul to soul, and we bless everyone's spiritual journey. If you are a newbie today, we have a welcome packet on the welcome table in the foyer. And if you sign the guest booklet, you get to be added to our weekly e-newsletter that has lots of information for everybody to participate in particular activities in the center. And back by popular demand is our speaker today, Ruth She's going to tell us everything we wanted to know about our 100 years of Unity CR. Thank you, Ruth. And of course, how could we not have a service without Nina Swanson, Angela Dooley, the band, Don.
All the Oz.
I just lost your name.
Tom.
Don. And yeah, that's the band.
No, they all know.
They all know. Yeah, we welcome you today. Yes. So we're going to have a special invocation today that is going to be led by Nina, and we get to sing.
So this is a melody that I wrote to words that are actually in our hymnal. I found them the other day, and I just didn't like the melody, but I love the words. So I thought it'd be fun for us to sing this instead of say it. And it goes, I'll sing it once, and then you can join me. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in me. God the good, God the good, God the good omnipotent. Let's sing it together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in me. God the good, God the good, God the good omnipotent.
Thank you, Nina. I believe there's a congregational song. Yes.
Yes, let's all stand.
Yeah.
One, two, three, four. I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what love brings. I feel God in everything. I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose goodness surrounding me. I choose love in every breath I breathe. I choose God in everything. I choose happiness, I choose freedom. I choose beauty that lives in me. I choose perfection in what love brings. I choose God in everything. So let's take a moment and greet our friends and our neighbors with a handshake or a namaste.
Well, we now have our blood flowing really well. Thank you. Are we going to sing our children off to school today?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Okay, we have a few announcements today, but the first one is that we have our annual meeting today where we're going to get new trustees, new bylaws, and we have food. So if nothing else, that will draw you to the community room for the meeting. Excuse me. The Community Creates class tomorrow has been canceled due to the flu. And next Sunday on the 2nd, we have a Super Chili Bowl event. The last I heard, there were only 2 people vying for the top chili. So we need more chili. And then if you don't want to do chili, bring a side dish and sign up. That would be wonderful. Perfect. The book club will meet Thursday on the 16th, and the book is a Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and the book club is humongous. They got like 20 people these days coming. It's really great. So if you're interested, join this joyful group. And Polly Gould is a prayer partner today. She will be in the prayer room after the service. And we have another song to sing.
All right, let's all stand as we're able. Here we go. Strings, 177. Oh.
The love in me beholds the love in you. The joy in me beholds the joy in you. The light in me beholds the light in you. We are one in the peace of the Lord. The love of me beholds the love in you. The joy of me beholds the joy in you. The light in me beholds the light in you. We are one in the peace of the Lord.
Please join in stating our statement of purpose together. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We gather to create an experience of spirit. At Unity CR, we offer practical teachings that empower a permanent and meaningful living. Meeting you right where you are, we endeavor to provide a variety of ways to support your path of spiritual living. Our mission is to provide spiritual awareness and share the wonder and joy of God's love. The daily word for today is faith. Please join together as we say the statement, affirmation statement. My faith is my foundation. And I invite you to hear these words with your heart. Every good thing, every blessing in my life began with faith. All that I had worked to achieve, everything I had dreamed of, everything I had prayed for, began with my belief it could happen. Even if I faced setbacks or had to wait for my good to come to me, I held firm to my faith. I understand all manifestation is divinely ordered, and certain things must fall into place before I can realize my dream or fulfill my goal. Living a life of faith keeps God foremost in my mind and heart, a constant reminder my greatest truth and highest blessing is to live a spiritual life. I believe in the absolute goodness of God and in myself as a faith-filled spiritual being, infinitely blessed and worthy of realizing my dreams. From Matthew 21:22, whatever you ask in prayer with faith, you will receive.
All these whispers going on back here. we can all hear them. Might as well just talk. This is a song written by a woman named Fia. And I heard her first at this wonderful event that was last Saturday, that Rachel and Ashley and a bunch of people helped put on. Tom and Brian were helpful in this as well. It was a wonderful event, and they had an ecstatic dance at the end of it. And a woman they played some music by this woman, and I asked the lady who it was, and it was somebody named Fia, so I looked her up on YouTube. She's wonderful. Oh, boy. I am open, I am free, and my life is breathing me as I surrender to the will of the divine. No more stories of the past, I am shedding skins at last, and I realize I'm already in heaven. And the moment I stop running from the demons in my head and instead choose to love them, when saying yes to life, both shadow and light, my suffering is done and I come alive. I am born and I will die, with each breath a final sigh. Doesn't matter where I go, I cannot hide. But when I find my sense of peace, I can walk through hell with ease. I might fall 1,000 times, but I shall rise. And the moment I stop running from the demons in my head, and instead I choose to love them, when saying yes to life, both shadow and light, my suffering is done and I come alive. I want to feel it all. I wear my heart on my sleeve, saying, here I am, can you see me? I am beautiful and messed up in the most glorious way. When standing in my truth, who cares what people say? 'Cause the moment we stop running from the demons in our heads, and instead we choose to love them, when saying yes to life, both shadow and light, my my suffering is done and I come alive. 'Cause the moment we stop running from the demons in our heads and instead we choose to love them. When saying yes to life, both shadow and light, our suffering is done and we come alive. 'Cause the moment we stop running from the demons in our heads and instead we choose to love them. When saying yes to life, both shadow and light, our suffering is done and we come alive.
As we move into a time of meditation, I invite you to get comfortable in your seat, to release anything that you may have brought in with you that you want to release into the universe. I invite you to take a large breath in and hold that for a second. Then release that fully, exhale fully. And do that one more time. I walk by faith. Faith is my key word today. By faith, I stand firm. By faith, I meet life courageously and confidently. By faith, I see beyond appearances to the underlying good. By faith, I overcome every limitation. By faith, I know that God's power in me is greater than anything I may have to meet or overcome. That God is greater than any condition or circumstance. By faith, I am fearless and free. Faith dispels fear, for faith knows the nothingness of fear. Faith reminds me that God is the only presence and power in my life. By faith, I am kept steady and calm and trusting. By faith, I'm assured that with God there is always a way. That with God there are always right answers. By faith, I live each day joyfully and happily. By faith, I walk in the light. By faith, I am shown the way of my highest good. By faith, I am healed. By faith, I am blessed. By faith, I know that I am a spiritual being. I walk by faith.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you so much. You can think of this book in front of me like a teddy bear because it really is just here for security. It's not here for anything else. Excuse me. Well, this is a recap of what I hope some of you had saw on, let me get my little guy here, saw on the evening of September 14th, 2024. I'm not sure why we're not moving forward, but it's okay. And then one more. There we go. Okay, good. This was the evening that, as part of the Centennial Committee, and I'm not going to make everybody stand up when I mention your name, but if you were part of the committee, if you'd please raise your hand, I would really appreciate everybody seeing how many people were involved in helping with this. It was just great, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate everybody. When Kevin asked me to speak at the dinner, he said, you know, can you recap 100 years? And I said, well, yeah, I think so. And I said, well, how many minutes do I get? And he said, 5. And I said, I don't think I can do that. How about 15? Well, in reality, I talked for 30. And that was because I took the idea that this was like a family reunion, that I hadn't seen these people in 100 years, and I was going to talk about every little minute thing that could come into my brain. So that took a half hour. But it was a wonderful time, and I want to thank everybody who worked on that dinner. And so when I was preparing this, I knew that I really had to stick to the 15-minute time period because we have to get on to other business after this. So I wanted to make sure we stayed as close to being on time as we could be. And so whenever I do a talk, I try to think about what would be a key word or two key words, not more than that, but one. And the word that I came up with for this talk here today is faith. If you couldn't tell already. Because this really is a faith that Goldie Cook Richardson, who is pictured there, Mrs. Richardson had faith in the vision that she was given. And it's the first of the 12 powers. It's the power for January. And it is a royal blue color. And this is unity blue, but it's close enough for me. And faith is the ability to believe, intuit, and perceive. Faith blesses my day and paves the way. And it's in the center, in the middle of the brain, and it's represented by the disciple Peter. I hope that you all picked up a card as you came in. We have these available every month out in the foyer, so I hope that you all picked one up. If not, they're still out there. If we come across one that we talk about and it's not on the card, feel free to note that on the back. There are, at my last count, if you start with the 12 Powers, which was written by Charles Fillmore in 1930, that one to me is the first. But there are probably 8 that come after that, and the last one that I know of is Divine Audacity by Linda Martella Winsett, and we have this in the bookstore. I don't know if anybody was here when she spoke to us in May, or if they went to her workshop, but she's really a very dynamic person, and I really enjoyed what she had to say in this publication. But I wanted to read a little bit here about the preview for the chapter on faith. He has 12 chapters in this book, How to Use Your 12 Gifts from God, and it's by William Warch. And the first one is, God is invisible. Faith is your ability to say yes to God. Faith is your ability to draw your good from the invisible to make it visible. Faith and belief are not the same, and you develop awareness of faith by exercising it. So, in my humble opinion, this is the house that faith built. Lovely picture taken by our Lisa, so thank you for that. But we weren't always in this building. This building was purchased in, I hope I have my date right, 1977, and then we broke ground in 1982. But in the meantime, we were in properties on 2nd Avenue, and I have a picture of those coming up. And through the sale of those 3 properties, there was the brick house at 1015 2nd Avenue, which was the main worship center with Goldie Cook Richardson. And then we had a 4-plex and a duplex. And through the sale of those 3 properties, we were able to hold that money. And in the time from when Mabel Swanson died and John Cuddeback came into our lives, we stayed at the, well, he had his offices at Fisher Printing, but the Townhouse Motor Inn was a little stop along the way. And I loved reading the notes from everybody who contributed to the history, because in this little scrawling handwriting it said, "The Townhouse Motor Inn smells like alcohol and cigarettes." Okay, all right, so they didn't stay very long. But John Cuddeback was able to secure space in the Knights of Pythias Hall, and we were there with him for about 2 years, and then Dick and Lola Andrews came, and we met there while they prepared to break ground. But John Cuddeback is the one who bought these 4 acres. At the time he bought these, the Blair's Ferry Road was not paved all the way out to Edgewood Road. There was a lot of pushback. They thought that this was at the end of the earth and there was no reason for us to purchase something there. Mabel Swanson's vision was to build a grand church on 2nd Avenue and 10th Street. And this is where she wanted to build a huge brick building. And there was a lot of talk about that, but she died in 1977, so her vision didn't come to fruition. But we did have the money, as I said, 4 acres, and these 4 acres cost us $33,000. And I have the plat map if anybody wants to look at that later on. This next slide shows where Goldie Cook Richardson first met, and that was at 728 4th Avenue Southeast. This house still stands today. I went by it the other day. It's on the corner of 4th Avenue and 10th Street, across from the Med Quarter. They haven't quite got it yet, but they probably will. She held study groups there, and from what I could discern, she and her mother and her son lived there. Now, I've never been able to find much on her husband. I've never been able to find much on what she did before she started this ministry, but I think that if we decide to have a history club, we can look into those things together. The middle part of the middle is the 2nd Avenue properties that I just mentioned, the duplex, the 4-plex, and I tried to put a little red little square around the main house, which is there on the far side across from there. So that was the Unity Center of Cedar Rapids for a number of years. And they also took in lodgers there. If you were down on your luck, Goldie or Mabel would bring you in and let you stay. Their doors were absolutely open. They both lived there, Goldie and her family, and then when Mabel came, she lived there as well. So this was not just the Center for Unity, it was the home. Okay. The next slide, there we go, thank you, is the article that was written by the Gazette. And passive solar, at the time this was being built, that was really kind of a hot word. They were sort of thinking, wow, what are these people doing? And so an article was written The architect of this building was Sig Bjornsson, who is Jeannie Bjornsson's stepson. Yes, and I also wanted to mention earlier that the banners you see in the foyer and the banner out that celebrates 100 years outside, Jeannie was kind enough to give us a gift to cover the cost of those banners. So we owe Jeannie a big, big thank you. And I believe that Jeannie knew John Cuddeback. And so maybe we should have hands shown of when we get to the minister, who knew these people. So I know that Jeannie knew John Cuddeback. So anyway, Sig got a national award for his design from President Ronald Reagan and also many of the people here in town. It was quite the thing. And our groundbreaking, whoops, now they go two at a time. The groundbreaking was in August of '83. Can we go back another? There we go. So here's pictures of the groundbreaking, and that's Dick and Lola in front of the big sign. That's one that we can't read very well, talks about passive solar. And here's the group that's around. And who was at the groundbreaking? Claude, you were there. I know you were. And there you can see the back of the head in the one in the lower would be my right. That's my dad. And right behind there, if you can't really see her, you see the top of her head, that's my sister. I couldn't find my mom in these pictures, but I know that she was there as well. And so also was Elaine Fisher. She was there when we broke ground. So here we are, they broke ground in August of 1983. Again, once it was completed, there was another article in the Gazette about the building and about Dick's vision. And I don't know, it's not in color, but I don't know if any of you remember the red theater chairs that my dad and Claude installed here. And where I'm standing, that's where that pointy thing was, which I think made everybody feel uncomfortable. And then Dick is sitting on, and it was red, as were the chairs. And Dick is sitting on a stool in front of one of the pieces of furniture we inherited from Goldie and Mabel. The next iteration of our building was the groundbreaking for the new addition, the community room and the classrooms and everything down there. And that was in April of, I know Valerie and I just looked it up, and now I got to figure out where I wrote it down. Was it 03? 05. Thank you. April of 05. Thanks. Okay, who was at that groundbreaking? Another show of hands. Carl? Great. I like this picture, the color picture lower down, because it shows Thelma in the background doing the dedication of the garden and Reverend Brenda in the front. And also they had to move the garage from on the other side of this building out to where it currently sits, which I thought that was great fun. Waste not, want not, Okay. This is the Mabel Swanson Chapel windows. Now, I know a lot of you thought that this was named for Carl and Nina Swanson, but no, it's the Mabel Swanson Chapel. And I still haven't been able to figure out where these windows came from. I love them, I adore them, but if anybody knows their provenance, I would love to hear about that. I don't know how they got here, but I'm certainly glad they did. Okay, at the time that they left the buildings on 2nd Avenue, there was a lawsuit, and I'm not going to go into the details of that, but many members thought that they had a secretary, and her name was Elizabeth Edwards, and she thought that she should pack everything up in the 2nd Avenue house and take it with her to Canada. And there were some people who objected to that. And so there was a lawsuit. And it was not settled before Mabel Swanson passed over. So John Cuddeback ended up finishing it. And she was awarded $100,000, and the center was awarded $500,000 with the organ, piano, podium, minister's desk, pews, and songbook. Well, they left out, we had got the prayer box as well. So you can see, starting from left to right, that is Goldie's office in the brick house, the Unity Center. And above it, I took a picture of the front of the desk because it has the Unity wings, which was our symbol for many, many, many years. Next over to it is a picture in that same house of the prayer box. And it's the prayer box that we use and have today. And then as you move over to the final set of pictures, this is the podium that now is sitting in the community room and lovely decorated by Ann Luley. Someone said to me when we were moving this piece of furniture around, they said, you know, we should just get rid of this. And I just like in horror screamed out, no, you can't, you can't, you can't. Because it has history. Here is Mabel Swanson standing at it. Here is in that house, and then Dick is in front of it, and it was Dick who added the electricity to it. He electrified it because it sat back here, and I think they needed some speaker wiring. Okay, so the next part of our building and what has gone on is a little tribute to Elaine Fisher. This is a picture of her at her 85th birthday. She had a strong, strong vision to help people in need who needed food, and she wanted to create a community cupboard, and she did. And Barb, our lovely Barb, took up the banner, and she now is head of that ministry team. I know a lot of you people walk by the jade plants often during the week and on Sunday. These were donated to us by Elaine when she moved from her home to Cottage Grove Place. And we think that these are probably about 90 years old. That's where we think they are. And I never before in my life saw jades bloom, but ours bloom. And I suppose it's because of their age. And the one that's closest to us on this side is blooming right now. The reason that this little place in our hallway was made is because Dick Andrews had the vision that we would make this a planter box and we would sprout new things and plant gardens. That was his vision and why it was built into the architecture. He also, from conversations with him, he was the first minister that I knew. How many here knew Dick and Lola? Yay. He also talked about how he was hoping that we could extend that direction and make a healing center, and that we be part of a healing center here in Cedar Rapids. He left before that vision could manifest. So now let's start at the beginning with our ministers. This is Mrs. Goldie Cook Richardson. As I said, oh, I missed one. Maybe I went too fast. There we go. This is the stained glass window in the community room, and that's Linda Black-Smith who designed it. And this is Karen Armentrout Potter who did the glass work, and she's Jan and Harold's daughter as well as Nancy Andreessen's sister. So I wanted to point that out. See why it's so important for us to figure out those windows in Mabel Swanson's chapel? I want to know. Okay. So here we are, once again, back with Goldie. The things that I read about her was that she was considered to be very, very charismatic. She just draw people to her. Her granddaughter, Dorothy, remembered her as a woman, as I said, who gathered people to her. We have a little booklet that's been hanging around the lobby for a long, long time, and I never really understood its significance until I decided to work on this talk. And I'm going to read some of what it says to you. On August 4th, 1924, Goldie Cook Richardson was awakened from a sound sleep to feel the call of the Father to come unto his field of service. This was the third call. At 17 and 24, Mrs. Richardson had been called, but somehow the voice, she refused to listen. This time, the call was too clear to set aside. It was too definite. There was an adherence to the Father's plan for her at this time. The rest of the night she spent in prayer and communion, And early morning she came to her mother and said of the night's experience, she urged her daughter to follow the leading. The Unity School of Kansas City was consulted. They urged Mrs. Richardson not to quelch this urge of spirit, but allow its freedom. Words were inadequate to express Mrs. Richardson's appreciation for the Unity School, which had so lovingly cooperated every step of the way. At the time, it looked utterly impossible to step from the business world into a love offering work among strangers, and there was little was known about Unity teaching here in the area. Each time Mrs. Richardson would feel a little doubtful, her mother would say, "You can trust the call of the master. He will see you through." So they opened on September 4th in the little green house that I showed you, and there were 6 in that first study class. And this is how most Unity Centers started, were as study classes, rather as the formal gathering you see here with us today. One of my favorite things that I read about her, I loved it all, I can't say there's a favorite, but one of the most interesting things that I read was that she would go about the Cedar Rapids area, and she also had satellite ministries, and Goldie was the spiffiest lady you ever saw. She felt it was important to show your prosperity by the way you dress and by the way you behave, that there is no problem. You are prosperous, and you should show it in your shoes, in your hat, in your clothes. You present prosperity because you are prosperous. And I love that, because this was in the middle of the Depression, the Great Depression, as we called it. Okay, and then here is the first class in 1925 of Goldie and her followers, and I counted 9 folks. But soon she followed the call even more, and she opened up places in Clinton, Independence, Moline, Muscatine, and Waterloo. And there you can see her schedule. Now let's just take a moment to think about this. Her car was Veely, V-E-L-E-Y, I believe, and it was manufactured in Rock Island, and this is the vehicle she took all those places and all those times. Now I don't remember back when we took Highway 151 that went through every little tiny town as we went north. There was no I-380, there was nothing. You had to have tires with inner tubes, and if something happened to your inner tube, you had to know how to fix it. You had to bring your lights, you had to bring all it took so that if you had a road hazard, you had to be there to take care of your vehicle. And this woman reached out to all of these places and had study groups, had assistants, and she herself would speak. Not every week, but she would speak. When she passed, oh, there we go. Now I've got to, oh, there. When she passed, there were articles in 3 of the major newspapers here in the eastern side of the state, and I counted over 20 bouquets that were sent to her funeral from all over. So to me, this is something that shows me that she really touched an awful lot of people at that time. And it was reported in the writings that when she passed, she transfigured, which means there was a show of light when she left her body, that she transfigured. I don't know another equal word to that, but that's what it said. And at the time, Mabel Swanson came in 1935, and she had been working with Goldie for 5 years. And so at that time, Mabel Swanson moved into the position. And I guess she was a firecracker. She was very outspoken. She didn't take any nonsense from anybody. And she was unshakable in her faith and strong innovator spirit. And she brought her visions to fruition with the acquiring of property and putting the church on a firm financial basis. She's the one who initiated Sunday morning radio broadcasts, and that was in 1943. And those continued to be broadcast on WMT 600 AM until 2010. So the radio coverage, I don't know if you remember WMT, it covered clear over to Des Moines and went just as far to the east. Amazing, amazing. However, she did discontinue the satellite churches, and those gradually phased out between 1940 and 1960. And when there was a proposed interstate that was going to take out 2nd Avenue and move through, there were a number of churches on that street, and was going to take out Unity Center as well, she said to the newspaper reporter, Unity's future in the community would depend on how adequate the compensation would be, it taken from the freeway. Ms. Swanson fears that income-producing facets of the property would not be taken into account. And she was asked, well, what's a person to do? And she answered her own question by saying, I'm going to put it up to God, and I'm going to let God do the fighting. There was no interstate that went through. And now we're back to John Cuddeback. He followed Mabel after so there was Goldie, Mabel, and now John. John wasn't in, he was the first ordained Unity minister to be here. He wasn't here for very long. He died in 1981 at Unity Village, and he's the one who moved us from the townhouse motor inn to the Knights of Pythias, and he's the one who bought the property here. I looked all over to find another picture of him, and the only picture we could find was the one from his obituary, which I found somewhat sad, if you want to know the truth. And here we are at the motor inn again. Our next pictures are of Dick and Lola. This was Dick's second church, and it was Lola's first church. Dick had background in construction, so he felt very comfortable in being the general contractor, to help get this built. In 1985, he asked to go on sabbatical, and then he accepted a church in Las Vegas. Lola helped guide finishing the it's okay. She finished guiding it to fruition, and she was minister here until 1994. In the 80s, we were able to sponsor speakers such as Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer, and that very exciting. And then in 1993, we helped form and found the Interreligious Council, which we belong to today. It was the first time that it brought together a divergent group such as Buddhists, Judaism, Shintoism, Christianity, Taoism, Zoroastrianism, Unity, Islam, Native American, Baha'i, Hinduism, Confucianism, Sikhism, and Unitarian Universalists. So when they said Interreligious Council, they meant it. Here is another picture of them. I knew both of these people, and my remembrance of them is that they were just extremely fun-loving. There were, the story goes, this is in the basement of the Knights of Pythias Hall, that they would come in on Saturday and get everything set up for Sunday service, and then after they left, people from the Pythian Hall would come in and rearrange it all again. So, I mean, they were little scamps from what I understand. Then we come to Jeff and Anne Marie. I also knew these two folk, and my biggest remembrance of them is that we always had a stuffed animal drive that was given to the Jane Boyd Community House. It was so fun to come in the morning, and instead of seeing people sitting in the seats, you saw teddy bears and bunnies, and it was just wonderful. And so then we all just hugged them up and gave them lots of love, so that when they were passed on, they were full of wonderful unity energy. They also were enthusiastic supporters of Circulation Day. that they really felt that this is one of the principles of unity, that you put things back into circulation, that you have an opportunity to give to others. And so our circulation day was huge, and Claude helped with that, as did my father, and we would fill up the parking lot. There were trailer trucks that were out there, and everything was given away. There wasn't a price on anything. If you needed it, then take it, and we'd happily help you with it to the car. Lots of things. We even gave away a car one time. I don't remember what year that was, but we gave away a car. All right. I have a little time here. I'm going to tell a story about Anne Marie. I was in the talk, and she had been having difficulty at work, and she was just like fit to be tied. And it was so on her heart that she excused herself to the bathroom and just went in there and cried. Not just tears, but she cried. And then she said to herself, "Oh my God, it might be time to pray." So I still think of that when I'm having problems. Oh, my last resort, maybe I should pray. Yeah, so she told it better than I did. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Then came Thelma. Thelma was here from 2000 to 2007. She was the driving force behind the addition. She was here, I just think she looks like an angel in this picture. That's why I chose it. She had 30 years experience in Unity, and I came to some of her workshops and enjoyed knowing her. I didn't know her as well as other ministers, but it was good. And then she took a job as Director of Development at the Unity Institute at Unity Village. And then after that, the board hired Brenda. Who all knows Brenda? Okay, so yes, that's a typical expression and gesture from her, I think. And she's wearing red, her favorite color. Brenda was the one who hired me in 2015. And I like this photo for a second reason, and that is, as you remember back in earlier slides, Dick was just sitting on a little stool. My mom didn't like that. She didn't like that at all. So she went out and found a podium for him. And David McWright made the Unity sign to put on top of that. This podium is out in the garage. Needs a little tender love and care, but yeah, that's my mother. She thought if it was broken, she's the one who had to fix it. She didn't take anything on. All right, and then after Brenda, we had an 18-month hiatus without a minister. And then here comes our lovely Reverend Deborah. And Reverend Deborah was here about 6 weeks before the pandemic hit. And so through that happenstance, we became a powerful, powerful online presence. We fine-tuned our broadcasting, we fine-tuned everything about it. She learned how to record a message so that we would continue to be a presence in the community. We also had outdoor services, and I don't know if you can see Chris Klosterman standing there, and I'm way back in the background because we're helping cars park so that we could have an outdoor service, which came to fruition with Carl and Nina's help, and and Lisa. It was quite the production, but it was good. It was very good. And then here is one of her candlelight services that she broadcast. And I think it's important to understand that after the pandemic, many Unity centers did not come back. They had very few attendance. People got comfortable with watching things online, and they just didn't come back in person. We are a rare exception. We are a rare exception that we not only have a strong online presence, we have up to 25 people who watch us. Lisa and I have a friend in Omaha who gives us feedback, tells us if we've got the camera angles right. We love him. We love Tom. We love him. So I think that's important to remember, that we are an exception in how strong and spiritually mature our congregation is. And there have been a lot of people who contributed over the past years. And I'm singling out Jan and Harold Armentrout because it's because of Harold and his diligence in collecting the history and putting together the history that I can stand here and tell you what I know. And Jan, she did a paper newsletter every other week. They sent out like over 400 of them every other week so that everybody was keeping in touch. So a lovely, lovely couple who have now passed on. So here we are back at the beginning. Maybe. With 1925, the first picture of the congregation. Here's the next picture. Oh, not quite so fast. There should be one in between there. There we go. I don't know the year of this. I suspect it's about 10 years ago. But look at those babies in the front. That's Amelia and Sophia. And there is Ethan and Allie. And I think that's Sam sitting by Laura. I'm not sure. But you can see all the people that we have known and also have passed on. Dottie Berger's up over there in the corner. So yeah, it was a wonderful remembrance for me to look at this picture. It's the last group picture I could find, except for the one that comes up next. So if anybody knows the date that that picture was taken, please let me know. So here we are, the one that we took in September. What a beautiful, loving, loving group. I'm so proud to be part of this. So proud that we were able to build a house of faith. And that brings me to my last slide, which you will see these every month. We change them regularly so that you can have in the welcome slides online, you can have the cards. This is the modern one. You got the old style one. But when I was thinking about this, I think it's really wonderful to say, faith is, and faith, I perceive faith, I know faith. But I think what Charles intended, at some point in our spiritual growth, we take on these powers and we start to say things like, I am faith. It's not something outside ourselves, not something that we are still working to achieve, although I had kind of a crisis of faith this past weekend. I won't tell you that I didn't. But to know that I am faith, I think this is what we're all working toward. Just like next month, I think we're all working to be strong. I am strength. So that's all I have to say to you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll think about faith. I would once again say that if you want to start with a more modern interpretation, if you're not ready to read Fillmore, I would start with Divine Audacity, because this sort of speaks to our modern person rather than Charles. Charles expects you to know a lot of things about metaphysics before his things make sense. So again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me today.
My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Everyone has a story, everyone has pain. When we strip away our masks, we find we're really all the same. It's those little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile, a connection, a simple to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came running after. Said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help to ease your mind? He said, hold my hand, just be kind. Now know that I'll be fine. My church is nature, my God is a feeling, but this deep inside, my job is to be cautious. My Catholic won't goodness, my religion is kindness, and I'm practicing every day. My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling, this deep inside, my job is to be cautious. My Catholic won't goodness, my religion is kindness, and I'm practicing every day. My religion is kindness, and I'm practicing every day. My religion is kindness, and I'm practicing every day. Every day I practice it every day.
Boy, am I on? I'm on? Okay. I don't even know what to say today. It's just really, what a service, what music, what's a talk. Yeah. Come on down. Come on down. We bless these baskets in the abundance they will receive. We give abundantly, we receive with gratefulness, and from our hearts we give again generously. Please join us in our offertory statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This
Yahoo! From our hearts, we bless these ties, knowing prosperity abounds for UCR, our community, and beyond. We join our hearts together and say thank you. To those who have made prayer requests for a beloved, we surround you in peace and love. For those for whom we pray, we enfold you in wholeness, prosperity, and well-being. We release these prayers on the wings of love. Amen. Let's sing again, Nina.
Okay. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect unity. Let me sing it with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with
The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever I am, God is.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine it around this whole world. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it around this whole world. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it around this whole world. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Shine the light of freedom. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine the light of freedom. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine the light of freedom. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine,